In ancient times, the sacred mountain was sealed by the dwarf deities with 5 powerful.
Let's skip that boring part and let's dig into business. I need your help.
Hey, where am I? This is a bit different from what I visited earlier.
Hey, come here quick.
Oh, me?
Yes, you.
How dare you to interrupt my story? I am the mountain.
Well, as I was saying, this is the Misty Mountain and has two things about it. One, it's filled with gold and diamonds. And there is some kind of weird magic.
What was the last part?
Instead, you can mine any dwarf streams, and all you need is a pickaxe.
Any dwarf streams?
Hey, welcome everyone. How are you doing? How was your weekend? And today it's Monday and we're back to streaming. Hope that you're doing well. Hope that you had a relaxing and replenishing weekend and that you're full of energy to start the week, either playing, building, creating, or just having fun and having some peace of mind. Anyway, I want to welcome you all. Thank you for being here. And Givesh, how are you doing today?
Hello, Bruno. I'm good. I'm good. Let us know how everyone doing in the chat, and yeah, let's go.
Type in the comments, let us know how you are, and let's get some mining action today going on. As we also, so for today's topic, we do have something that has been recently very in the news, which are creator royalties, which I personally believe it's something very important on this space and should be debated. At least we could trade some ideas of what do you think about it, what do you think would be the right approach, what not. And we do also have our insights about it. And hey, let's discuss about it. And before we go into that, let's give a warm welcome to everyone that has already joined us now. We've got Noble Arcade in the house, Breezia75, the Yoke is on you, OG Shakespeare, Fred and Ferd, MLD Tech, 322 Confirm, the Seven Summits Mountaineer, J-Dog, and Faded Pain. Welcome, everyone. How you doing? So, we're still loading into the Game Maker. let's get this Missy Mountain opened up. Let's also just talk a bit of this experience that we were opening up. So basically, we had a couple of reviews from very, very final last touches that we have to put on this map. And one of the things that give us actually just worked right now was some narrow passages that we had that's caused some camera issues. That's you know how it works when a place is too tight, the camera you'd go a bit crazy, so would zoom in, zoom out, and that could create some motion sickness, and we don't want that to happen. So we got rid of all the narrow passages that we still had. It was like very few. How many did you find actually, give us?
I fixed exactly this one.
Mm-hmm.
Changed, maybe not fixed, but and exactly this one.
That
Though,
one. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think today we will especially look into those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still questioning how to do such places like this,
Mm-hmm.
and some other passages, but yeah, I'm really today looking at the camera and what passages might we still want to fix. Those two was like really narrow, um, and quite long. I think when it's long and narrow, it really hits that camera. Though when
Mm-hmm.
it has enough space, it's not that bad. So yeah, just need to fix. Also check if
Mm-hmm.
if if I can find some places, because you to find those places you need to like go around and
Explore a lot.
yeah, because for example like this place, but I feel like this place is somehow unique because it's probably one of the only 1x1 passages,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, well, uh, we
It's kind
can
of
we
double.
can
It's
con-
kind of
consider
double-edged swords. Yeah.
we can consider like I think this passage really might get a bit bigger, though. mm, I somehow really like this passage, but yeah, for example, this one really goes into consideration. And for
Mm-hmm.
example, this place is also has a passage which
A
is
very narrow one. Mm-hmm.
quite narrow. Yeah, so overall, this place seems to be like it could be also done the same,
Mm-hmm.
though I really need to check, is camera really going that crazy? Because for me, I did not had that kind of experience in those places which we
Mm-hmm.
fixed. Yeah, it was kind of strange. Especially in this place, you could like really
Mm-hmm.
had to go around the rocks, and it was quite hard. Um, but yeah, um,
I can see you
today
already
we will see.
redid some. Mm-hmm. Well, that was one feedback that we got from the sandbox, and it looks like people do not like that much thin and narrow passages. So we want this to be the best user experience possible. We don't want you to have motion sickness on any of that. So we'll be taking that feedback as something important and to be taking in consideration. So although personally as a style, it does look good to have these narrow passages because we can really hide stuff, and probably those narrow passages work best in a first person type of game where you don't have camera issues. You're just seeing everything like Gibas is seeing right here, like first person. So we'll be looking into that to see what type of changes we will have to make. There's other couple of small changes that we need to make. Some of them already in progress, which are, for example, the quests that we had the messages kind of changed in between, and some of them got broken as well a little bit. So we're also getting to that. But bottom line is that we're doing the final things for the game to be on the final version. And also, welcome, Huddle Hill. How you doing? The escape room artist exploring. It's been quite some time. Hey, you've been missing a lot. Yes, you have. And well, I think we could start. I wouldn't say start by mining already, but we can throw our theme of the day to everyone. So, and before we do that, I just wanted to make a small. Maybe you know what we could do. Also, give us. We could do the while we discuss. We could do the Steel Breaks quest, which we have not did much times until the end to see if we can see a bug.
Yeah. We did not really did that quest that often.
Yes, we did not. The times we did, it was working, but let's redo it and just to make sure that everything is happening as we want it for this quest to be. So, before we get into today's topic, probably you have noticed that we're changing a little bit of the format of what the streams are like. So on Mondays, usually we have the mining session. Well, mining, it's something that happens in every stream, just to get that cleared out. But on top of that, on Mondays, we reserve the stream to be mining and be discussing a peculiar topic, which we had last week about tips for players. Then back, we were discussing game economy, and another week. So we had a couple of topics that were already being discussed. So for today, we're going to talk about creator royalties. For Wednesdays, we have that stream dedicated only to mining. It's the Lucky Miner Day. And for Friday, we have a new stream also, which is about working on GameMaker 0.8, where we test the new multiplayer functionalities. As you know, we're developing an expansion. And for that expansion to work, we need to make sure that all these multiplayer things are working. And for that, we'll be doing some live tutorials with you where we explain what we're trying to do. And with that, those tutorials also serve as a way to give back information and knowledge of what we're creating in here, so that if you're also creating and you are participating and watching these streams, you can also learn something with those. We've got Fred and Ferd on the stream on Friday to help us to do that as well. So basically, these are somehow the new schedules for the Pickaxe Master streams. Mining, it's a common tone, and then Monday we have focus on one more thing. Wednesday we have focus on another thing, and on Friday we have focus on another thing. That way we can give out more content, and when we say content, it's more knowledge back into the stream than just focusing as much on just mining and discussing on what's happening on the Pickaxe Master, because we already do that pretty often. Whenever there's news, there are updates, we talk about it every stream. So as well, we got All24K in the chat. We got Gold in here, and if you do not know yet, because you'll be knowing after this one for sure, Gold did a drop on the Sandbox marketplace. It's his first drop, and it's very cool because the stuff he has dropped in the marketplace is actually the equipment sets that is being doing and designing on the streams for the past months. So not only was cool to see All24K Gold to design those live and explain how to work on Vox Edit, we got all that fun to watch together him to do, and now he's able to launch them on the marketplace. So what I'm going to try to do here is to search for marketplace. I think it's Golden, so GLDN. And I'm pretty much sure that I'll be able to find it. Here we go. Here it is. We got the golden heart chest. We got the golden heart. But hey, there was more. So is the NFT drop not live yet? Oh, these were minted by the Sandstorm. Got it. So this was from the Sandstorm meetup. The golden heart chest, the golden heart leg, and okay, here we go. Got some sparkles. Okay. I'm trying to look in here for those. So am I looking to the inventory or published? Oh yeah, should look at to the published. Okay. All24, it's not live yet. You can find the official collection on my Twitter. Okay. Perfect. So it's not live yet. So make sure you tune in and get you follow All24K on Twitter, on Twitch. So whenever it's live, you get all those updates. And he's also saying it's not live yet. We're also doing a royalty program, which is why I'm here. All right. Good to know that there's more people interested in this theme. So I think that while Gibbous is doing these really cool quests, which is the Steel Braids, it's the main lore quest. We talks about the Misty Mountain and its fantasy themed kind of lore of story, and it's the main one. as Gibbons is also going to do that, let's discuss about creator royalties, which is something that has been on the tip of everyone's tongue because there's been a lot of changes in the space recently. Starting with, so I'll where to start? There's so much to cover in here. Where to start? Where to start? Okay, so I think I'll start with just what was the premise of Web3 in terms of the blockchain, transparency, and enforced royalties. So, as I do remember, when I got introduced to NFTs and it was related to art, it was the brother of my girlfriend that is an artist, is a painter, and they were discussing on one of exposition he was having that were like, hey, you got to do your art in NFTs because that ensures the royalties that you'll be getting if you buy yourself, if someone buys a piece of your artwork and then decides to resell it, you as an artist will be secured in a way that is being enforced by the technology itself that you'll be receiving those royalties. So long TLDR, too long didn't read, is that you as an artist, you are for the first time have a technology, you have a platform that is actively securing the best interest of creators. And I did not join the blockchain space and NFTs because of that, although I'm also an artist, but because I was much more interested in NFT gaming, which is something we can discuss after because it also touches creator royalties in a different aspect. So royalties can be used for so many things. That's why I remember that we got the Yoke was commenting there about creator royalties, and I told that's just the tip of the iceberg because creator royalties actually enable a lot of things that are just not only as a way to support the artist to keep doing his work and also being him the most beneficial whenever there's trades from secondary sales from the marketplace. So the creator himself that he did that art that did not existed, he gets also benefited from that. So after joining the blockchain space and understanding much more about NFTs and what their purpose and their utility and what their potential are, it became very clear that royalties were the foundations for all of this to happen, were the foundations to make this. So it was some sort of flagship to onboard creators. Because, hey, you're a creator, you can come to this space, you can make NFTs, and you can secure that your art is going to have these enforced royalties for you lifetime. And let's not be hypocrites. That was the premise that made a lot of creators decided to join the NFT space. And if there's a reason why this is changing in terms of the royalties, in terms of why we have now marketplaces that decided to take creator royalties, it's morely because of traders, because people that are in this space only to buy and resell for a profit. They do not care of what you're building. They do not care about your art. They only care about their own pockets and their own money. They only do it to trade and get profits. Because if they wanted the art because of it, if they wanted that NFT because it's a land and you want to build on that land, or because if you just want to be part of this ecosystem, or you want to join this game, you wouldn't have that compelling pressure to be buying and selling all the time. You wouldn't be worried about making that much profits because what you were actually looking for is the content itself. So the only reason that you could be concerned about royalties is that you're losing money to the creators. So you're selling something that someone has created. Without that creator, you would not be selling that NFT. And the reason why we're taking that Blur took out creator royalties, we saw that in the past with other marketplaces as LuxRare, X2Y2, and now we just had OpenSea to also say that they're going to take away creator royalties. And it just became a battle between marketplaces, because the marketplaces are the places that where people can trade their NFTs. They can buy and they can sell their NFTs in a more secure way that's not off the chain. Having that said, marketplaces are full of traders, people that are actively buying because they want to add pieces of art to their collection. Either trading because they want to add this NFT, for example, they're creators and they want to be part of gaming, and they want to buy a piece of the Sandbox land, which is also an NFT. And by doing that, they are just buying of the sake of being part of this ecosystem. And for example, the reason my first NFT, it was a Sandbox land, and I did buy it because one, I was into NFT gaming. That's what made me join this space. And secondly, because as a creator, I want to be able to publish the games. I have a board game background, so I design other board games. And as a game designer, Sandbox lands felt very much attractive to me as someone that likes to create more than anything else. So that was the reason I purchased myself a Sandbox land. Sorry. Ugh. Now, when we have creator royalties, and we know that it's possible to ensure that the creators are able to get, and creator royalties go from 5 to 10% most of the times. And you're able to enforce that the creators will be receiving their own piece of the cake by all of these secondary trades of people that just want to take profit out of this. Now, what happens is that marketplace, they do take their own fee for providing the marketplace, for providing the system where you can trade on. It's fair. It's fair because it needs a dev team. It needs to be UX, UI. It needs to be safe. So it needs a whole team to be working on that project to make sure that you have a safe and a good marketplace to have your NFTs on. So if there's a team, they deserve to also be paid for that work. So if there's a fee from the marketplace for you to be able to for them to be able to sustain themselves, it's fair. And just let's give a comparison here. You know that at least the most exclusive art galleries, since we're talking about art and there's so much tied up with NFTs being art as well, you know that, for example, Sotheby's and there's other art marketplaces that are physical and digital, but not on the blockchain. Maybe they're going into the blockchain. You know how much they take as a fee, as a service, just because of their reputation? They can take about from 30% to 40%. And there's a lot of renowned artists that very much like those platforms. You know why? Because they guarantee that you are receiving, or that they have customers and they are a trusted platform. So why do they take so much fees in that? It's because one, they're a trusted platform, and buyers trust that platform as they're buying an authentic, they're buying an original, and they have the best artists there as well. So if we look into what was OpenSea charging and what was all the other marketplaces charging, compared to that, it was nothing. We had OpenSea charging 2.5% of their fees for you to trade. And OpenSea is the most reliable and trustable source you can have out there. We could argue on this and discuss like, hey, this one is better, the other one is better, but like, they're the longest and they were the ones that were able to support trust for the community. And there's no way around that. It is what it is. OpenSea has been here the longest, and they were actually the ones that brought trust into this ecosystem, and that made it thrive as well. So taking 2.5%, it is not that much, while you have to keep doing, especially when we're talking about technology and there's so many security issues into it, and on an emerging technology, it does require a lot of funding to keep an active development and keep growing the team as well. So having that said, we are looking into what are the marketplace fees, but let's talk about traders that mostly are what it creates the pressure to reduce fees, either from royalties and either from marketplace fees. Because again, when you're a trader, you're looking into profit alone. You don't care if it's this project or that the other project. You only care about how much you have when you buy and how much do you have when you sell. That's the only thing that matters. Having that said, uh, I kind of got lost in here. It's a long train of thought process in here. Okay, bear with me. So marketplaces, traders, all right, let's keep going either way. So we have that covered, which is marketplaces are entitled to have a fee because they do provide a service and they do need to get paid. At least give us, what do you think on that? What's your opinion? And I did just to get away from a second, just to finish my sneezing process in here, and let us know what you think about fees on the marketplace, and what do you think about them being a dev team, about being to sustain themselves? Are they too high? Are they too low? Should they be non-existent? Let us know, and I'll be right back.
Mhm. So, of course, everyone wants the fees to be as low as possible, but I think that electricity costs. So basically, to make electricity, you need to um, you have to get the power somewhere. So I think that's really goes to that. Um, yeah, and making those transactions efficient probably is a way to go, though I'm really not that good at programming and into smart contracts or transaction possibilities. How can you make a transaction? So I'm not pretty sure about all of that, but I'm pretty sure that it costs some electricity. And of course, modern GPUs or CPUs are able to make that cost smaller, and maybe some sort of softwares are also able to make it smaller, but I think it's impossible to make it not existent, um, just because it costs electricity, it costs someone's work to do. Though um, maybe we will have so much energy that we will be paid to use the energy. So,
We
because
hope
for
to reach to
example,
that.
I don't know if anyone knows, but basically, electricity grid is really controlled, and like they're sitting people and watching every step of people. So if you turned off the lights, so there is more electricity in the cables, so they have to reduce the generating of the electricity. And if there is a lot of people who are, for example, starting their ovens, there is a lot of need of electricity, and basically then it has to start more generation of electricity. So that kind of middle ground of 50-60 hertz of electron moving back and forth is really really important on all the people. So for example, if everyone at one moment decides to turn off their electrical electric oh goddamn electric equipment, um, it would be some sort of interesting thing, because there is so much generators on which are always working, and there is no way to turn it off. So I bet it would be a problem if everyone starts to not use electricity at just 1 minute.
Yeah. But hey, let's not deviate too much into electric. I'm just still have my camera because I just want to make sure that my nose just stopped drooling. And also let me give just a quick welcome to everyone that has joined us in the meantime. We've got Farioto here in the IT guy. We've got Wicked U2, our moderator here at the Pickaxe Master. And welcome everyone. How you doing? So I did not got the first part, but I got from the
I'm just
last
talking
part
about
was
fees. About fees,
So
that
you
fees
think it should
cost
be some?
electricity.
Mm-hmm. And All24K also said security certifications are expensive and continuous audits to ensure security. That's also expensive. So yeah, there's running costs to run a marketplace. Basically, you have human costs, you have technology costs, and you have everything else. Security costs. There's a lot of things that need to be taken in action. So as any dev team that's working on something that's being used, they should be getting paid for their work as well. Otherwise, because without the marketplace, we would not have so much trading in NFTs in the first place. So it kind of feels like all these trying to push down the fees as much as possible. It kind of feels like you're trying to spit on the end that was feeding you. At least looking at the trader behavior, it somehow makes me feel this way, I would say. Now, I think that regarding marketplace fees, it's pretty much that. So every marketplace should have their own fee, could be more, could be less, because they do have expenses that they need to take care of, and would be very much unfair if those expenses were not taken in consideration and just people actually mad that marketplaces have fees because, hey, they have to get the money from somewhere to make their own living and be able to work on the project that they're working. So that's first. And let's move on into the second part. That's it's one of the core things about the marketplace, which are royalties, and which is the main question in here. I think by now my nose just gave me a break. He waved the white flag like, okay, truth. And let me get these back on. Okay, I feel much better now. Perfect. So now going for royalties, and we know that marketplaces until now, or at least until November, royalties were some sort of we would take it as granted. Basically, you would not question if this was going to be taken away. And regarding royalties, and now let me just say this not as someone that's, because it's building on the Sandbox, and it's developing a game on the blockchain, but someone that has over 20 years of experience in the musical scene. So I'm not sure if y'all know, but I got fortunate enough to be able to sign with major labels as Sony. I was fortunate enough to be able to make tours. So I lived a lot of time of my life in Angola. So I did African tours, and I was able to visit probably half of the continent, which has a lot of countries there. And speaking in a position that I've experienced a lot of what it means about royalties regarding music, and what was able to be done with the blockchain technology, which also I believe that would be the next step in terms of musical distribution. So even we get into gaming and all other forms, let's just try to see as something much more straight into it. So for example, how many artists you have known that's in the inception of their lives, and how many artists you've heard of that they built these amazing works, but when they died poor, on the street without barely any food to eat. You heard about that, for example, I think it was Beethoven that was composing all of those genius work because he had a very big family, and he was just composing that because he had bills to pay. So basically, when we all listen to these Beethoven legacy that he left us, basically he was just pressured to do those. That was actually commissioned work that he was doing just to pay the expenses that he had for his own family. And looking back, it did not die as a very well-known person. It did not die as a very rich person as well. And he left a musical legacy that continues to inspire nowadays and will keep going 100 years forward. Those are the type of people that are just left in the history forever. And saying, for example, a painter, how many painters and writers they did genius works that but I'll go for painters. I'll not try to go with too much. So let's go, for example, painters. How many painters they did their first work and sold for nothing that would be worth, for example, 20-30 years after they started to do. And while he got to sell, and let's just say, for example, he could sell a painting for $1,000, and then he got traded back and forth from galleries, from owners, from museums, and he was reaching, some paintings go into millions of dollars. And that first creator that did the original painting, it did not receive anything else from that. And maybe while there are other people that are getting rich just from buying and selling his artwork, the creator himself is still on a very rough position to thrive and keep doing his own art. And you can see how unfair this is for the creator. So everyone is making a lot of money except the creator himself. That's that thing kind of evolved into the current meta or state of the art that we have now. So creators had to find different ways to get revenue. And now going back into music, which is something I am very much more familiar with because I do have more than 20 years of experience, artists, they do not rely on their royalties. They know that royalties, they're not going to get anything out of it. So they know that if they want to survive as a musician, they need to do live shows. But this was not a common thing until back from some years. So this only started to become a thing when we got platforms such as Spotify, when we got Apple Music, when YouTube was also here. These completely changed how things were done, because before we were not able to listen music on our cell phone. We were not able to listen music on our computer. We had to either to buy a CD, we had to buy a cassette, we had to listen on the radio. So you actually had to purchase the music to listen to it, or either you could just listen to the radio and then add your own recording cassettes and you would make your own best of. I did many of those in my childhood. So while the music was playing on the radio, they were enforced to pay royalties to the label that had that band signed on, because whenever you sign a deal with a label, there's a royalty distribution program that you agree with the label. And those were not that much, they were already not that good for the artists. The labels would get most of the money from royalties whenever they were signed in. So if this was already not good, when we did not have all these distribution platforms, now it just became worse, because you would have to, later on, you have to buy a CD. And when you buy a CD, a percentage would go to the label, a percentage would go to the band, and then there were royalties from that. And again, another percentage would go to the label, and another percentage would go to the band. Of course, there could be more intermediates in here, such as agents and managers as well. They could, depending on the type of agreement, they could be having also a cut from the share, but let's not go into such complicated divisions of that. But when we started to have much more distribution platforms, such as YouTube, Apple Music, and Spotify, just to name these three, then music could be easily accessed by everyone. So you do not have to purchase, which is some sort of investment, and CDs are expensive to make. And it was even more back then. So either you had to pay that to listen to music, and nowadays you just can basically listen to anything for free on YouTube, or even if you're listening on Spotify, there's the free model as well that you can listen into it. Their revenue model is based on advertisements. So advertisers pay a fee that it's going to go into Spotify treasury funds, and then from the place they will be distribute that money back to the creators, to the musicians themselves. So what does this brings to? It brings that the creator himself, from all of these, so we already know with more distribution, the market becomes with much more competition, because I am Apple and I say, hey, your music in here can reach 1 billion users. But if you want to be listened by 1 billion users, then you have to accept that the royalties we're going to pay you are going to be this low. In one hand, you can reach more people will be listening to you, but you'll be receiving less per play. And then comes Spotify and they say, hey, we have a reach of 2 billion of people. We can reach the double as Apple. This is, ignore numbers, this is just hypothetical. Now we can reach 2 billion people, but hey, the fees we're going to pay you are going to be even less, but your music is going to reach more places, which means you can do more concerts, and then you're going to get your revenue from the live concerts. We're getting you, let's call it customers. People are listening to your music, and whenever you're going to do a live concert, there's going to be more people listening to your concert. So basically the revenue model from a creator in the music point of view has transitioned from being able to sustain themselves from, hey, I just made a very successful music, and just because it's being aired everywhere, I'm getting that. I'm getting a good lifestyle out of it, and it's getting me conditions to live in a way that I can keep evolving as an artist and be able, because as an artist, that why do you have labels? Because they will pay up for studio fees, for recording fees, they will pay for everything. So there's also money involved when you're making art. So back again, all these new forms of distributing music made that the artists were receiving less royalties and the platforms were getting more royalties out of the work of the musician. So it is very, very unfair. Like, musicians right now receive like very, very little cents, like 0.0000 something cents for each play, which is basically nothing. You have to be listening for millions of plays to actually receive just something. And that is not feasible as an artist to be able, okay, my music is being heard by millions, but what am I getting? Not enough to pay for 2 months of my life, for example. So it kind of got us into that crossroad, like, okay, we cannot get money out of the music that we're making in terms of what it's being streamed, what it's being listened. We have to get money from live concerts. Okay, so I'm not sure about, but at least in Portugal, there was a boom of festivals, of live concerts. Like, all the artists just want to do live concerts because that's the only way they could get revenue. And why I'm saying this is just to get a comparison on how creator royalties in the music industry without blockchain evolved. And when blockchain technology came in, and myself, again, as a musician, was like, wow, now there's this technology, there's this, because the blockchain technology is also a way of distributing. You have an NFT, and you get access to your NFT. The way it's being distributed, it's by the blockchain itself. So although we might get some interfaces like Audios and some other Web3 companies that are already working with music, you could have some different interfaces to be able to play your music. Bottom line is that the blockchain is some sort of distributor themselves. And this distribution method that relies on something that is transparent, and everyone can see which purchases are being done, who owns what, etc. You now have also enforced royalties into that distribution method. So as a creator, and again, I'm going to make this so we don't think, so the goal is not to talk about the Pickaxe Master or just the Sandbox, but just as creators in general. And I think that this comparison is a good example to how you could see things also in here, in the gaming NFT, for example. So now you have blockchain technology, and musicians are able to distribute their music through this technology, which enforces them that from every secondary sale, they're going to receive their own royalty cut, which could be defined from either 0 to 10%. I think that's usually the meta. It goes either more towards one way or more towards the other way. Now, this is very, how do you call it, promising for an artist. Like, wow, I can get back the royalties I deserve in the first place, because every artist knows that they're entitled to their own royalties because that art form was not there until they created. So they should be entitled to receive that sort of payment for their continuous work and for being successful. Not everyone else is making money out of that art form except them. So it's only fair that they are able to receive their own piece of the cake. Having that said, that premise of having royalties enforced by the technology themselves, it has made a lot of creators wanting to join this space because, hey, finally, there's an ecosystem that I can feel that I am valued. So this is what it was bringing. This was the shiny thing about NFTs and about blockchain technology, is that creators now can get what they deserve in the first place. Now, coming back, for example, and this was just related to an art form. I want to give another example on how creator royalties can serve in multiple aspects. For example, as you know, here on the Sandbox, there's creator royalties on secondary on sales that happen on the secondary marketplace. For example, we had one Pickaxe NFT, a Ruby Pickaxe that was purchased in Ethereum on OpenSea on a secondary sale. And there's 5% royalties charged by the Sandbox that were enforced by the blockchain and marketplaces. Now, those 5%, we could think like, hey, the Pickaxe Master is going to be taking part of those 5%. But since these assets and these NFTs were minted from the Sandbox contract, which is pretty much all the land, all the Sandbox assets, they were minted under the Sandbox contract. It means that that contract is the one that is the vigent, how do you call it? The vigent, okay, I want to use something else. So we are working under that contract, let's put it like that. And by working under that contract, it means that those royalties, they do have a destiny and a goal, and they have a very specific use for those. So you question yourself, so okay, I created this pickaxe, everyone is buying and selling, and it's generating secondary royalties, but hey, we were the ones that created, why are not we getting? And basically, the way that the Sandbox is doing, and this is just another example to explain how creator royalties can be served for so many use cases. So in that example, the 5% that are being generated out of royalties from the Sandbox assets that are under the Sandbox contract are actually being used to fund, to get into, I think it's part of it, it's for treasury, and the other part is to fund for to be allocated for I'm not sure the technical wording here, but basically they're taking those royalties to be able to fund the ecosystem again. So basically those 5%, so we're part of the Game Maker Fund, and if we're part and there's funds for us to be in the Game Maker Fund, it's because those 5% that are generating out of secondary sales and those royalties, those funds are being putting up into let's call it a wallet, and then that money is being used to fund more projects, and then it's a cycle. So the royalties are being used to secure that a continuous funding cycle goes on, so that if this project is having success and there's other projects like Inception, this project is part of the Sandbox and it's having success, and there's royalties being generating from it, then they're allocating those royalties to keep funding more projects into the future. So it kind of becomes this wheel of funding themselves. And I would say that it's pretty much genius, because it's a way to guarantee that the foundation has money to continuously keep adding into either leaderboards for play to earn or for funding projects to keep the development. So it has an utility. It's not for the creator, like we, the Pickaxe Master, are not getting those royalties as for ourselves, but we're part of something bigger as an ecosystem. So as being part of an ecosystem, it does feel good that whatever secondary sales we're generating is also being used actively in a way that's only reaching everyone. So it's some sort of the secondary sales here are just generating money to sustain and keep developing the space for everyone to use. So in the end, it's good for everyone. It's royalties that are being used for common good ground. Everyone wins out of those. Not one, not the other, but everyone. So there's a different use case in here, how royalties can also be used as some business model. So you could be having, for example, I'm not sure, I don't follow that much other NFT projects, but there's a lot of ones that could be using. For example, you could have your own profile picture avatar collection, and there give you access to this game. And for example, if there are secondary sales, those royalties are being used for people that have their avatar staked, for example. So this is just hypothetical. I'm just giving another example on how secondary royalties could be used to actually reward the holders that decide to not sell their NFTs. So they're getting those royalties distributed to the community that they got the NFTs in the first place. So what I want to say is that the creator royalties provides a safe ecosystem to have a business model built on it. And the way that you can build that business model, it's pretty much infinite. It will go into your own creativity of how do you want to allocate those funds that you're getting, that are being generated from secondary sales that are being made on the marketplace. And having those sales generated on the marketplace and getting those funds that you would not be able to enforce and secure on Web 2 and traditional markets, now it creates these environments where there's more creativity put into the process, that hey, we can build something on top of this. We can from value, we can generate more value. And that is very important, because so far those royalties have been a vehicle and a way for creators to keep developing their products, their service, their games, their collections, their whatever. Taking away all of this, you can see how it's going to, you can already see what the road will be like, but let's discuss on that. And I want to just make a little pause before we go. I think we kind of covered this one. And Gibash, I want to ask you, what is your take also regarding this, from traditional royalties, how they were enforced, what blockchain technology allowed creators to secure the royalties, and their use cases as well. And I want to ask you this as we raffle the first lucky miner of the show as well. And also, while you do that, please type in your comments, questions, anything you want to say. Let's discuss it here. We'll be taking notes of everything you're writing, and then we're going to discuss together everything that's, let's call it this first part of the show of what we have discussed until we get into the next one.
Yeah, so I will just try to get the wheel and the list working. And regarding the Web3 royalties, yeah, I think it's the only way that you can secure it. So maybe not the only way, but convenient way. And yeah, so the forms.
Doing three things at the same time, not easy.
Yeah, yeah.
I can feel your pain right now. Like, I'm thinking about something, doing another thing. So I'll break it down to you. What do you think about the use cases of royalties? You think they're necessary? Do you think that creators can go around it? Let me know what you think about creator royalties. Like, about creators being allowed to receive the royalties they set up on the collection.
Yeah, I think it's when it's building on the technology, it's very, very cool, because technology will keep improving, and there is more and more ways that probably artists will be able to create value. So especially now when Web3 is coming, and now with Web3 the crypto is coming, and with crypto comes the finances, or like stock markets, and just because crypto and stocks are also related. So I think that bringing all of that economic part into this kind of space is really cool. And
we could even see it, just to state a reference. For example, the Bored Ape collection, by the time that they were minting, it was not that expensive mint. They were kind of cheap, like if you were there at the mint at the first day. But looking forward some months, you saw those floor prices rise up, and they were getting those creator royalties. And actually, it was that value that was generated from the royalties that enabled Bored Ape Yacht Club to build such a strong brand and actually make an empire out of it, and actually start to developing business, because they were we're getting funds out of those secondary sales. So that's just an example on how actually a company was started and was funded through secondary sales. And it's kind of funny to see that if these traders right now, they want to make more money, because they don't want to pay for royalties, they don't want to pay for fees, they want to pay for nothing, they just want their pure gain. They want to trade these highly valuable assets that that only got to be valuable in the first place because they got funding to develop. So this is going to go into a crossroad very, very soon. And again, I want to ask you, Agibash, what's your take regarding the. So I'm going to talk about art in general, and then I'll go into gaming as well. So in terms of art and NFTs, so what would be regarding writers, musicians, painters, photographers, in terms of the current model of Web 2, of how it works, versus the model that we have on Web 3, that have blockchain technology, ownership, royalties, and all of that that's integrated.
All right, the forms are ready. Also the list. Um, Regarding all of those, yeah, I think that technology is starting to allow this, because before there was so much involved into making sure that, for example, if some sort of creator wants to get some royalties, or just it was just probably a whole different world where PNGs did not mean anything, and right now we see that digital assets, not images, but just digital assets, they can grow into really big things, are really cool thing. So, and you definitely can create some sort of economy on that. And I think that, yeah, it also allows you to be passionate about what you're passionate, yeah. So
Hmm.
basically, if you like to write, so you could like keep on writing, and uploading that into blockchain somehow, and someone can come and buy your story, write a book out of that. So, or basically, because I think that, like, regarding the art, we're coming to the gold age of art. So basically, we have a lot of tools to help us, from softwares to hardware to even some computational tools like AI. So I think we're really coming into gold age of art, and I think royalties is really big part of it, because people who are building this, they need to live. And now blockchain and Web3 is allowing this to be in controlled manner, like, which before was impossible to do, to
Now,
even to
now it's on
try.
the ends. It's on the ends of
Yeah.
creator and not the ends of the labels or the distributors. And actually, you touched a very important thing, which was, so I wrote a story which I'm very passionate about, and I published this story on the blockchain, and then someone purchased it and actually made a book from that story you wrote, right? So you're touching here something else, which is IP, which is intellectual property, and which is licensing fees and rights, which again are hand to hand with royalties. So I think again what we're seeing in here is that the only reason that we're still discussing royalties in the marketplace is that because we do not have a law that's enforcing intellectual property and licensing fees as well. Because once we get into that territory, I can see very easily the legal scene of every country saying that, for example, I'm going to say Yuga Labs and Bored Ape Yacht Club, because they actually had a process regarding intellectual property. And how does it go? For example, like you're saying, I wrote myself a story and I'm going to sell an NFT that also transfers the intellectual property and it transfers the commercial rights of it, because you could be selling an NFT that does not transfer the intellectual property but the commercial use. So there's a lot of in between in here that could be within an NFT, and let's call it the terms of agreement, the terms of service of the NFT that you're selling. And taking away the creator royalties, I think it's going to bring much more into this. So probably I would see all of these NFT projects just becoming like, hey, you know what? We're an IP. And since we're an IP and you're trading our IP back and forth, and you're leveraging our IP to get money from here, then we should be entitled for something. I can easily see these things taking place, but no one had to worry about it because the creator royalties were all always insured. So no one had to really care or bug into that. So I would not be surprised if there's also that. So what do you think about that, Givesh, as well, in terms of someone, you write a story, you put it on the blockchain, and then you either decided, okay, I'm going to give away the intellectual property within the NFT. Like, for example, you could have you own a house and there's a document saying that you own the house, and you want to go into a notary, and he's going to say like, okay, this NFT is the same as this paper, and I want to make legally that this NFT is the same as this paper. Who owns this NFT is entitled of the ownership of the house. It could be the same. Who has this NFT is entitled to the intellectual property of this story I wrote. And when you
Yeah,
sell it, Mhm.
I feel that that's the way to go. It makes everything so simpler. So, for example, I when I bought a took a loan and bought a place to live, um, so basically then I had to go through some sort of notar thing. I don't know how it's in English, but I know
Mhm.
how it's in Lithuanian. And this is just a lot of legal things. So basically I come to there with talking with a woman. She's just approving that I'm the person. So she looks at my document, then she puts on her script or her autograph on that, and basically now it's mine. So
Mhm.
why it not be could be like in blockchain. So basically, yeah, as you're saying, if you have this thing which is only possible, like which proves that you are the owner of this, you have in here in the decentralized secured area. Because in other case, why I did have to go to that place just to secure that I'm the owner of that place in Lithuanian kind of means. So and
And there's more into
the
it. For example, you could have an NFT that it gives you the ownership of that house, and there's another, and you like, hey, but you know what? I want to create another NFT, an NFT that declares that you can commercially use this property to subrent, for example. So I could be the owner, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell you this NFT that makes you that that grants the owner of that NFT to use commercially this space, for example.
I feel like then there's a lot of legal things. Like, all right, if you damage something,
Mm-hmm.
oh, all right, I buy the NFT that you created that allows me to use but not
Mm-hmm.
own.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, I break something. So
Well,
all
that's
of
why you
that
have a
has to
smart
be in
contract.
yeah.
An
So right
NFT, an
here,
NFT is a smart contract, so you can put all of those terms and conditions into the same smart contract that you have minted the NFT, for example. The same
yeah.
that you would
So
have a renting contract with someone.
exactly. So basically, it comes to still a legal thing. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
what I expect is for all of the legal kind of things also be approved by or just created around blockchain. Because for example, the I don't know how much of legal kind of things there was involvement, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things goes really far to our history. For example, I think that when there was two monkeys and they found a tree and they decided that one side of tree is mine and other side of the tree is mine, and we like decide where's the lane, then the legal things appeared in human history. So it
Mm-hmm.
took really long time to evolve at the point where is it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to believe that it will take as much long time to evolve the legal kind of part in blockchain to have all of those smart contracts ready. But I think that people will manage that and will create all of those smart contracts that need to create a stable economy for people to exchange easily,
Mm-hmm.
to to own and protect their property safely,
Mm-hmm.
and also just to the creativity part, the just ability to create more. I think it's also might get easier, though
And
nothing new, but
let
I
me just
think
give you another
yeah.
example, just in the same line of process, and after that, let's spin the wheel and let's see if there's any new entries as well in that form. But for
Of course.
example, let's say that let's use even. the own example here. We have Pickaxe NFTs, which are passes to that enable you to get access to the play to earn mining sessions. And imagine that you have three pickaxes from different years. You have a silver, you have a gold, and you have a ruby pickaxe. You have three, but hey, you can only use one. And again, the NFT itself, it says that hey, I own the pickaxe. This pickaxe is mine. But you could have another NFT that could be linked into it that says, hey, whoever owns this NFT gets the use of the how do you call it, gets the license to get the perks out of the utility from the NFT. So it would be some sort of way of lending the utility of your NFT. So you still you want to lend your gold and your gold pickaxe, so you still have the NFT in your wallet. That's mine, but I'm going to give out these other NFT to this person that enables this person to use so that he can get the perks. So it's some sort of transmissioning of the perks to that person, like, hey, you own this NFT, although you do not own the gold pickaxe, you are eligible to participate in the play to earn mining leagues as well, because you have the utility NFT right here. And there could be other protocols, like some sort of lending as well, that you get this for a determined time, then it gets back to the owner wallet. There could be some multiple protocols to make this happen, but you could even divide the NFT itself as for the ownership and the utility of the NFT. That's something that's transferable, for example.
Can you have an NFT which has a 12-word passphrase to a wallet? So you could like have an NFT which proves ownership of a wallet.
It could be hard because how do you so the seed phrase should be something that's, it should not even be in your computer. It should be out unplugged, let's call it. And if you're putting in the blockchain, which is very transparent, basically once it's minted and everyone gets access to that information, everyone can access that NFT basically. So I'm not sure if you probably only if it's within a website in the most secure, something like Area 51, NASA, Interpol, like mass security, that you get into the website. And only if you have this NFT, it will unlock a certain page that will give access. It will give access to a seed phrase, for example. I'm not sure. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible to create in such a secure manner that not even hackers can know how to break it. For example, with quantum computers, maybe they can make something so secure that this is impossible to hack and to break. And with NFT technology,
or would take thousands of years.
We would take thousands of years, for example. And by owning these NFT, then you can log into a website with a wallet integration. Then it reads your wallet. It states that, oh, you have these NFT, that it's a key for this website. And then by opening up, it shows the information that is private and only the owner of that NFT can access. That way I could see it happening, for example.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure there is ways to do that. At least for me, I can think of some ways that you could like hide some kind of information in NFT. So there might be some specific pixels that you have to know, or just check the color of.
Oh, having like some sort of passcodes within the.
Yeah,
okay, I see what you're.
So I think that it's definitely possible to do, but yeah, that also regards the legal part, because like the legal part is as much as important. So yeah, I don't know how everything will go, though. I like the transparency, I like the decentralization, I like the ability to create new things, because inside the for example, in Lithuania, I cannot create some sort of contract, or at least I'm not able. But for example, for some sort of blockchain, you can like Google out how to create a smart contract that you might be able to use. So it also opens a lot of possibility for creating new kind of technology or things that you might find yourself useful, and maybe others will find it useful. For example, like the same is true for the
Derivative.
assets.
Hmm.
So I think that, for example, that what we did not touch is 3D digital art. What is happening with my eye? No worries. But
You're getting like a
3D,
reflection in there. Going cyborg
maybe.
mode on.
Yeah. So I think that 3D space is really will be a big thing, because the planet is just has just so much surface, and to go from one place to another takes time. So it's much easier to create a Earth tool where there is almost like perfect copy, and then you can travel through all of the cities in real life and just explore it in that kind of way. I think it's just cool that technology is starting to allow us to do that, and I think
Hmm.
that 3D assets, or for example like the Sandbox, can be a really helpful thing and creative thing to people inspire into creating, and then they develop and start to create new kind of spaces, new kind of assets, which start to create more and more diverse world or reality. So because I think that really, for me, like game space and real life space, it's one space. For me, I don't see the difference, because
It's
I feel like
a different form.
uh, I think that games are
It's
part
an
of reality.
extension. It's an extension of reality, or
For example, yeah,
a different form of reality.
I would not call it different form, because I think that games are part of reality.
They
So
are. They are.
they are real.
Maybe. Yeah.
So
Maybe I
all
did
of
not
those
express
spaces,
myself well.
all of those spaces are real. So you can go there. You can meet someone out there. So those are real places.
Hmm.
Like shop nearby me, I can go and meet people, buy food, and I think there is space some kind of same thing inside gaming. I can go to places, buy kind of equipment, and just be. So it's
Meet
hard
other
for me
people
to,
as well.
yeah. So it's same space.
Okay.
um
And hey,
but
I
yeah,
know that
let's spin it.
we have this wheel, and also we've got. Let me also give a welcome to everyone that has joined us now. We've got Rakusha in here. We've got Mosquita as well. We've got Farioto, Julio FC, Go West, and welcome everyone. So right now we're going to take a break from the creator royalty discussion that we're having. We're going to mine a little bit so we do not forget about mining on this stream. And Gibash, let's spin this wheel. Let's send good luck to all our miners in here, and let's get some mining done. Also, I just need 1 minute break, and I'll be right back. So,
All
Gibash,
right,
please give some luck to our streamers in here, and let's mine. I'll be right
let's
back.
spin it. All right. Yeah, good lucks in the chat. And who is it gonna be? One boxed or blue tulip? It seems like it's one boxed. All right. Um, let's check the things. One boxed? Yeah, you're here. Very cool. All right, I'm just checking with what we gonna mine. Noise. Right, let's get the wheel out of the screen. And the chat. Gravel. Oh my god. One box to make it so nice to mine for you. He's like a machine. Though I'm joking. I'm pretty sure you're a beautiful human being. All right, so gravel. Yep. Let's give good lucks in the chat for the one box. We're mining gravel. This is the first block, and let's see. So previously I was mining quite some gravel, so I hope I did burn all of the unluck. Because it's all about statistics. Just for fun, I'm starting to really believe in quantum physics and everything counting by just probabilities. I don't know if it's starting to work.
I'm back. And one box, congratulations and good luck as well. So you're saying that it's just a matter of probabilities, and I could not agree more.
Yeah, I'm just, that quantum physics tried to show that it's really deeply involved into everything around us.
I can tell you a real life example of how that is true.
Please, yeah.
So you know that in casinos there are certain games that certain things are banned. For example, I'm going to give an example. This is widely known as a ban technique in roulette, which is have you ever played roulette?
With friends on, this kind of size table. Oh.
But
The
yeah,
small one where you spin.
okay. Actually, but the concept of a roulette, and probably let's see if in the chat they're also familiar with the roulette system on a casino. So on a casino, there's a couple of things you can bet on, right? You can bet, for example, if it's higher than 16, I believe. So from 16 to 35, I think that's a lot, 36, I'm not sure. And then from 15 to 1 or something, aka drinking roulette as well. And also you can bet, for example, on red or black. So one of the things that is being banned, so you bet yourself on black and it's going to get on a red. So you know that chances that next time there's more chances to fall on a black than a red because I already got one. So you double down your bet into the black. So it did not fall. It gets red again. So we got 2 reds in a row and we got a silver ore. Hey, nice. Speaking in prizes, let's go. So you already know that you did not win 2 times in a row on something that's pretty much a 50-50 chance. And you double down your bets. So if you win, you're winning back everything you lost. And you're getting profit out of it. Which means that, I see a silver nuggets. That's
from gravel.
Nice. It's a
Nice.
silver ore and silver nuggets, right?
Yep.
Nice. So if it falls again red, now it's 3 times in a row that has fallen into red and no black. So, and he's always doubling down. In terms of statistics, you know that it's closer now to fall on a black rather than a red because there was 3 times in a row as a red, correct?
I did not know that you could play like that.
Of course,
but
it's
yeah.
playing with statistics. Basically, you're playing with
playing with so that I am trying to do in games. So basically, if I lost 3 times, basically I know that this time I'm gonna win, and it usually works.
It usually works. That's why it's a banned behavior. So let's say that this happens, and you're always doubling down your bet. So when you win everything you lost back. So we're getting into the fourth. To the fourth time, it's okay, I do have really strong chances that it's going to be on a black one now because there was 3 times already, and you're doubling down. You get the 4th time on red. You're okay, it's getting pretty much anytime soon should be on a black because 4 times red, that's just too lucky. That's pretty much imbalanced in terms of RNG. And you're always doubling down. And then when it comes to the 5th, you double down your bet again and finally drops a black stone. What it means is that your last bet covered for all the losses that you had before. and that's why this is a commonly banned practice within casinos. Whenever if you do that and you have someone that's a dealer on the table that you're playing on, they'll say like, you cannot do that, buddy. I see what you're doing. That is not legal. You cannot do that here. So you have a real application where it's banned to use statistics into your favor.
God damn it! Like,
The gambler's fallacy, says Fred and Ferd. So yeah, I'm not sure if you could consider this quantum physics in any way, but it's just a practice where statistics, you cannot rely on statistics because statistics work, and if you use this practice, you'll be ending up always with a win because you're always doubling down your bets, and sooner or later it will fall down under a black number instead of a red. So let's see if we can get some more prizes before we continue our talk with royalties. And let us know, by the way, in the chat, are you enjoying this talk about royalties? Are we touching the points that you were expecting us to touch on? Are you learning something out of this talk as well? And hey, let us know, how is it going so far on your end? And if you want to ask any questions, or do you want us to touch any specific topic regarding creator royalties, let us know in the chat as well. So please type in and let us know a little bit of how this stream is going on your end. And in the meantime, it feels like we're kind of close to breaking these pickaxe, I would say.
Yeah, though. Let's keep mining.
Let's keep mining, and I'm rooting that one box is going to get some more loot in here, so that not only him can rank into the general mining leaderboard, into the master mining leaderboard, because right now we're using a ruby pickaxe, which is an epic, so it grants access to both. Also, since he has a pickaxe, he's ranking on the silver nugget leaderboard for best miner, also on silver ore, so all the resources also count. And again, he is also ranking for the clan leaderboard, being one box, the clan leader for the impossible ones. So how many leaderboards have we discussed right now that one box is ranking all alone just on this one? So general, master, best miner in 2 categories, and clan. So this is 5 leaderboards at the same time that one box is ranking right now. And hey, you know what's cool about this? This is just a warm-up season. This is just pretty much the beginning of everything. So prizes right now, I would say they're good. I think they're suitable for the place that we're at. And we're just in the warm-up, so we could expect more and more prizes to keep growing under the same rules that we're designing and building in here. And looks like our pickaxe has just broken. Let's go into the vault. Let's go into the vault and see how much did we got. Also, it does not seem that we have any questions at all in the chat, so let's just keep talking about creator royalties, at least our take and our input into this subject and matter. I already took note here of one box winning. You're about to say, Gibesh?
No, I think all clear, all good. Just changing to the coins.
Right, GG. And let's raffle another one more, and save the last one for the end of the stream. So we just did which one? It was general or pickaxe owners?
It was general.
General. Okay, so let's go for pickaxe owners on this time. Also, if you do not own a pickaxe and you want to be part of, you want to rank up in all of these leaderboards that we're just talking about, you can get one from the official Sandbox marketplace. So I'm going to post here a link in case you do not have one. Make sure you get one so you can be part of all of this we discussed. So for example, the diamond pickaxe, which is the legendary pickaxe, it's already gone. And there will be more tiers, there will be more leaderboards in the future that will be locked up into these different tier system we're also creating. This is the warm-up season, so it has less leaderboards than what we aim to have on the final version of the game. So this is also a work in progress that will continuously evolve as well with the game progress and with the sandbox developments too. So if you want to make sure that you have your place granted, since the early beginning and early start of all of these game and ecosystem, make sure you get yourself one of these pickaxes. There's still plenty for sale. You can get one of those. There's still 2 ruby pickaxes for sale. There's 49 gold pickaxes. And then from there, there's a lot of room to join in. So,
One box,
hell yeah.
so you get 1 silver nugget and 1 silver ore.
All right, and 1 silver nugget is 0.2 sand, and 1 silver ore is 0.1. So that's a total of 0.3 sand that you won on today's stream that will be sent later on to your wallet today. And these sometimes, even myself, I look at this and it kind of feels like 0. something sand every stream to every miner. But when we sum all of these values all together throughout all of these streams, it kind of makes a really nice bundle. So you can see from the leaderboards on how much sand has been distributed, and we're already over 200 sand distributed just from these streams. So whenever the game goes live, when we have all of these happening live, you can see how much it can also scale from here. But Givesh, let's get ourselves our next lucky miner.
Let's spin. I'm shuffling.
Let's spin.
And shuffle. Well,
Good luck.
It's funny to say I'm shuffling while I'm sitting.
And
that word really says shuffle, so.
We're shuffling. MLD Tech, Wapax, Novel. Who is it going to be?
Oh, I think it will be close to the wall, but I think it's Pickaxe.
Yeah, very easy one. Hey, Wapax, congratulations. You just got yourself to be the next lucky miner. So type in the chat so that we know that you're watching the stream, and also that you can choose what type of blocks you want to mine. All right, we got Wapax in the chat. He has chosen stone. Let's confirm the pickaxe, and let me take also notes in here of what we're doing. O24K, if you're still watching the stream, do you want to ask any specific questions, since you want also to host a panel or a program regarding creator royalties? Would you like us to also approach anything that you're curious on or that you will also want to discuss about? Hey, one box, don't struggle. There's a lot of time to rank up in the leaderboard. So this is not final, and I would not take for granted any of the places right now. No worries. No worries. O24K, no questions.
All right, we're mining stone.
And good luck.
Yep.
All right, let's get into stone and let's go. But would like your thoughts on the proposed GLDN on the Golden Viewer Royalty Program. All right, where can I look closer into that? Do you have a Medium page or a Twitter post or something that I can read on? Or just want me to talk about some... Oh, you're making the document right now. Okay. So viewer royalty program. That is interesting. Some sort of a fidelity program as well.
So what I did saw that Gold is making that list that he's creating assets for viewers, which is really cool. and maybe that's somehow related to that I'm
Hmm.
guessing. So, oh, we got a silver nugget.
Hell
Congrats,
yeah,
Papex.
I would believe that. But the idea is that anyone who helped inspire the gear set will get 6.9% of the profit after the month of sale. All right, so that would be some sort of royalties that are not part of the blockchain. So basically, instead of delegating that process into the blockchain itself and to marketplaces, you're controlling it yourself. So those generated revenue will so that you're sure that the generated revenue will go into the your supporters. You have to do it manually, yes. Okay, so I think it's a good thing to creatively think on other ways to reward your community, which is pretty much a shared community. I would not be surprised that if many viewers that are on your stream are also here on the Pickaxe Master stream. So what I want to say is Sandbox will provide a report for me to do so. That will make it easier. So I can see that so you'll be distributing some sort of point system. That point system, so you're getting points. It could be a token. And whoever has more tokens, we can say it that has a more share of the total that is being put into that, let's call it royalty pool. So let's make just a simple numbers. So imagine that we have 1000, we have 6.9, that will be 69 sand, for example, and those will be distributed within who gets more shares of the royalty program. I think it's a good concept because you're actively directly rewarding everyone that is supporting you and coming to the stream as well, which creates a really nice dynamic, I would say, between creator and viewers and community. And secondly, you're also giving more benefits for everyone that participates in your program. So by participating, and usually you do ask a lot of, I remember that you do ask a lot of feedback on what you're creating and what do people want to be put into the assets. I remember that, for example, the gold miner bot that was asked by Go West, you are actively asking for his feedback on how to make it. So it is a very close relationship between everyone that's watching the stream and you that you're building. So I would say that having that royalty program that you're rewarding points for the viewers that then entitle them to have a fee from whatever sale revenue you generate. It's a good concept. I personally like it, and I think it's fair, and it's a very good way to reward your support and your viewers, and to make something to engage the community. I'm not sure what are the details. That's why I asked if you have something I could read on. It's much easier to go like that. I'm just speculating of what it could be on how it could be. But overall, I think it's a good program, and it's a different way. So you're allocating those revenues that you can control yourself by doing it. So you're not waiting for any platform to be able to generate secondary royalties on that. Although it is very bad that we're kind of losing that perk or that privilege. So that goes into the second part of this discussion about creator royalties. And you just finished the Steel Braids quest. Actually, that was a fast one. You did it way, way faster than I would imagine.
Yeah, I was quite fast actually, and we found some problems. Um,
With
there
it?
is, yeah, there is a possibility to speak with him again, though
Hmm.
when he should
With Steel Braids.
already said, yeah, with Steelbridge when he's already said that thing.
Okay, that's one of the
Um,
things we had to fix from the review we got, which is the in between talks. So that's already in the pipeline. Anything else?
um, no, I think the like hardness was all right. so
Hmm.
it was uh, possible to go through all. Um, I think we did not had indications on the artifacts,
Hmm. I
but
think we can
that
add on the preset, like at least the VFX. I think we can add that into the artifacts so they're kind of easier to spot on.
yeah,
Maybe we can also put the indicator in terms of the quests being part of the quest, have like some sort of interrogation mark as well. I think we can also do that just again to make it easier. But probably just from the VFX, it kind of becomes too easy to identify. Like you see something glowing, like, oh, that's suspicious over there. Why do we have something glowing on the map? Maybe I should take a look. Hey, it's part of a quest. Who knew? So yeah, probably that will solve it. Now, going back to
yeah,
the creator royalties. Um, so we talked about what was uh, from before until now, and what we want to discuss now is what type of future we could see happening as well, from these being the new meta of having no royalties enforced on the marketplaces. So creators stop receiving their royalties. So one thing I could see here is that we have traders and we have creators and then we have users. Users usually buy the things from the creators, they own it, and they want to be part of the ecosystem. They want to use it in an active manner. So right now, for example, in here we have a Care Bear avatar, we have a Wheezy Lucky Green Hat. So we're actively using these NFTs for our own fun and entertainment. So we purchase it. We're not looking to get any monetary value out of it. We're just using because it's cool, we like it, and we want to use it. So that's being part of the user, which we purchased it. It generated some secondary royalties, and it was that. Pretty much, they ended up in here, and it. I don't know. They're here. They have no plans to go anywhere. They're just here. So there's not a search for profit in here. So
the escape room artist saying, I hate the indicators because it does not let player figure it out. Yeah, I'm on
yeah,
the same page.
yes,
Um, but
depends.
let's first try to do it simpler, and then maybe it's always possible to make it harder. Um,
That is also true. We already have the hardest way, and we felt like it's too hard. The indicators, it kind of feels like, well, at least now deviating from the creators, at least from the type of games I would play, quests were so hard that usually I would Google for tutorials on how to complete those quests. And there were already some people that already did those quests. They found those hard places and managed to do tutorials so that other players would be able to reach it. And how many
yeah,
games have you played that have tutorials on how to complete quests? Because by yourself, you would take hours to find it. And this brings
yeah,
to
and
something. Mhm.
I think Hoddy Hill is also like expressing that she needs the indicators. And for the escape room artist, there is F12. So if you hit it,
Hmm.
no indicators.
That as well.
Some hardcore mode.
But I wanted to say something. So when you have hard quests and you really want to complete that, and there's no information, usually there's someone that's going to complete it and make a tutorial out of it. So basically, by having art content, you're enabling user generated content. So you, as a player, you're generating content that is going to, for example, we're streaming in here about the Pickaxe Master. In the future, there could be someone streaming about the Pickaxe Master on how to complete the quest, and they could have a large, massive view count as well of viewers that people are like, hey, I want to complete this quest. I don't know how to do this. So I'm going to watch this stream, and this player is generating content out of a game. If everything is too easy and to explain, there's no room for that to happen as well. So
True.
there's a balance in here of what should be easy, what should be hard on purpose, and if you want to have your player base also to be creating its own content about the game. And we saw that on especially on MMORPGs, on very big maps that you have to explore a lot, and the instructions for the quests are just a little bit enigmatic or vague. You would see in those type of games there's plenty of user generated content, and actually
Exactly.
there are people that manage to get themselves as a job as providing content for this game they're playing. But that's only possible because the game has enough room from being too simple or too hard, and between that line there's room for players to actually generate content and also be able to support the community, or just being able to live out of that, of creating content. So
Also, when you research into some sort of game, at least for me, for those games like Elder Scrolls, which I did really go deep into the lore, I feel somehow a bond with that kind of game. So the
mhm,
depth also gives like more of that. I will come back playing that game because I know a lot about that lore, for example.
mhm.
So it just yeah.
And hey, and there's no right or wrong here. There's two
Yeah,
routes.
exactly.
Yeah, there's two routes, and some players prefer one thing, other players prefer the other, and they're both right. There's no wrong in here. Both of them are right. It's just a matter of, as a game dev, as a creator, what first, what do you want your players to feel? Do you want them to feel, for example, frustrated? But you want players to feel that frustration and go into it. You want for it to be, um, you want to aim for players that just want things more easy and that don't to be frustrated. Just want something that's very smooth. You know that you go from point A to point B, and you already know where point B is, and it's very easy to locate, and you just go very relaxed through it. And so there's different type of challenges, and being and having to find stuff is not they don't like that challenge itself. They like other type of challenges. So here we're just talking about player preference of how to engage with the game. So there's no wrongs, only right answers, and either with indicator, no indicator, both are right. Now, just to deviate from that, I'm going back to creator royalties. So we're talking about how creator royalties enabled creators to keep developing their games, keep developing their brands, keep developing their experiences, their economy as well. So taking this particular moment where we have Blur, which has pretty much exploded as a marketplace that was fighting OpenSea in terms of the fees. Well, before we go into that, I was sort of making a profile for NFT users. So we had the users, which are most of players, and we're giving the example of the Care Bears, and we're giving the example of the Lucky Green Hat. There's going to be also the creators, which are the persons that are making these assets, which are making this stuff. And then there's going to be the traders, which they only care about buying these NFT to resell it at a later time. They do not care about the creator. They do not care about the game development. It's only about a matter of hype and about selling at the right moment. So they would take the most profits out of it. And I'm not. It is what it is. People just use it for their own purpose, and I'm not saying that being a trader is wrong. It isn't. It's a way. It's also a way to make a lifestyle. There's people that do that with stocks. There's people that do that with real estate. So why it should not happen also with NFTs? It's a marketplace. They have inherent value. There's people buying. There's people selling. So of course, there's going to be people that want to make their life out of it just from the profits they can do from buying and selling. They're the traders. There's nothing wrong with it again. So the thing is, players that want to actively play a game, they do not mind that much paying the royalties, because those royalties are being used to keep developing the game or the artist that they're buying from and supporting. So it kind of gives a good feeling about it, like, hey, I know I'm supporting this person, this entity, this team, these devs, this game, these artists that I'm purchasing from is directly gaining from this. So I'm pretty sure that by doing it, so I'm contributing to the maintenance, to the survival, to for these to thrive, I'm a contributor. For someone that is not looking into those aspects, and what is looking is just how much USD or Ethereum or Bitcoin did I started with, how much USD, Euro, Bitcoin, Ethereum am I going to end up. So everything that stays in between those two moments, which could be royalty fees, marketplace fees, they're just eating up the value from the trader. So that's the enemy right there. The enemy right there are the fees because they're reducing my profit margin. Having that in mind, of course, fighting for not wanting to pay for royalties and not wanting to pay for marketplace fees, it's going to be like the flagship. I don't want to pay this because I want to be able to have more money in my pocket. And there are many reasons, many arguments. I remember seeing one like, okay, but devs, they should not rely on royalties to keep developing. Okay, that can also be true. Developers cannot rely on those on that form of revenue to keep developing. That is also true. But on the other hand, is it also a great tool that enables and also grants that you can keep building? Yes. And again, I'm going to give another example. Let's think on. I'm not sure how much they minted. For example, I can look here. I'm not sure if I can look here, but if you look all the big floor prices on collections, and let's say, for example, CryptoPunks, Bored Ape, let's call it, for example, the Artifact, the CyberKongs, all of those, at the beginning, they had very little floor prices. So by the time that they were minting, the dev team or the creators that put up there, they were able to get this amount of money. Later on, you would be able to see, for example, a piece of a Bored Ape that would be selling for over 1 million, while the founding team was able to get with a mint about 1 or 2 millions. And then you have right now a whole ecosystem where every single piece of NFT is worth at least a minimum of 1 million, because we saw this happening on the bull run. And these players in the market that are purchasing these highly valued NFT, now they're expecting and demanding that the company or the creator that has created this puts up a service that would stand up to the value, also to that goes encountering of what the market thinks it is valued. And now the team themselves, they're like, okay, now one piece of this NFT is worth almost as much as I did with selling full of this. And now they're expecting me to be able to run a company that has billions to develop, because each one of these pieces is worth 1 million alone. And as you can see, there's a huge gap. It's not possible to make that happen. And basically what I'm trying to say is the only reason why those floor prices got so high and they got so valued is because those teams were able to get funds through secondary sales to keep developing that brand and that company. And that was also the reason why the value keep going up. So now let's think of the current state. We're going to take that away. So creators, teams, and all of that, they're going to start not to receive those values. So whatever they got from the original sales, it's what they're going to get, and they'll have to manage. The only second way. So the only way for a team to keep raising money to be able to support whatever they're building, because if you think, you call it, oh, then it's a Ponzi. What isn't a Ponzi? We have iPhone. iPhone is a Ponzi. Apple or Google or Huawei or Android or whatever. If I stop buying Adidas sneakers and everyone in the world stop buying Adidas sneakers, they're not going to sell. They're not going to generate money to pay for the whole infrastructure. So it's going to go bankrupt. Is it a Ponzi scheme? Well, you tell us what you think if it's a Ponzi scheme. So if you look into this perspective, into any product in the world, if people stop buying, it goes bankrupt, it disappears. There's no magical trick on this. The same goes for crypto and all crypto assets. It's the way the world is run. It's not a Ponzi scheme. It's because you have a dev team that is building something. Either it's sneakers, either it's a telephone, either it's anything. And if they stop selling, they stop making money, then they're not able to sustain whatever they built, and it goes bankrupt and disappears. So basically with NFTs and the dev teams from NFTs and blockchain, it's the same. So what I would envision is that if now you cannot rely on being able to fund yourself with creator royalties, it means that, okay, we're going to the end of the month, we're going to need to have income to pay for all this team, for all this ecosystem. We will have to get a different type of revenue. So what we're going to do, we're going to put more things for sale. And I would remember, for example, on the free-to-play meta, that you have a lot of games on your mobile that you're downloading that game, and hey, it's free to play. And then you have people that want some certain perks, and they're buying those perks from the company. So basically, I want to buy diamonds that I can trade to see if I can get this special character, or if I can get these extra turns, or I can just keep these cooldown time periods. So you get a boost or advancement. But actually what's happening are microtransactions that you're making with the game. So they're sales that you're doing, and that's actually funding the team as well to keep developing. So what I can see, and going from here, if you take this form of revenue for the teams, it means that they will have to diversify and find other forms of revenue. Being the most obvious one, sales, direct sales. So they will become more aggressively sellers. They will have to, instead of focusing on more developing the product, because they would know that they have this funding that will go by the end of the month through buying from the secondary sales of the NFTs, then it means that, hey, we need to get more money at the end of the month, so we're going to put up more NFTs into selling. We're going to spend more resources on marketing, because we want to make sure that our NFTs on our product is being delivered to the people that we want them to buy. So you can see a shift here from focus on developing and actually having the funds allocated where they need to be, going back into product development and marketing. So instead of going forward, you'll be diversifying your product and trying to push more things to your audience as well. And bottom line, I don't believe that will become a big, very successful way to do so, because basically you're just taking ways that the creators can fund themselves to keep developing. So instead of focusing on just developing, because if they're doing a creation, they're having success and getting revenues out of the secondary sales, it's a way for them to get their payment back as well. It means that they can just focus on delivering more and more and more utility and more development. That just does not make them think like, okay, I need to put up a new product, because whatever they're developing, it translates directly into floor prices and into generated royalties. And let me see what one box is just wrote. The easiest way to illustrate the big picture is, if it's free, you are often the product. Yes, I can relate to that. If it's free, you are often the product. So basically, what you're trying to say, for example, with free mint, that we have meta in the NFT space, for example, you had free mints that were put out there, and how did those teams got funded? By the secondary sales. So that's another thing. Without the royalties, free mints, they're over. Nobody's going to do free mints anymore. No more free stuff for anyone, because who is going to do a free mint that if they cannot get any value from those free NFTs? Unless you're just doing some sort of POP, like a proof of participation of something, and it's not supposed to have any value. Because if you want to put value, so I'm going to do this membership card pass, and I'm giving you for free, I don't get any way to develop, I don't get any funds to develop these membership card pass, because I give them for free and I don't get any funding from it, from sales. So how the hell am I going to develop it? I need to get funds from somewhere else. That it's not this that I just minted. So it kind of breaks down the narrative of how to develop. So free NFTs, that's something that if this stays on this course, it will be very hard for you to find in the future free NFTs, and that's very sad. I could remember another Animoca brand games, which is Star Atlas, which is also very much talked about. So their NFTs, they were distributed for free, and everything that was happening. Like I remember it was the Alberts, and it was the other one. I do not remember the name, but basically they were given out for free, and out of out of secondary sales, they were generating ETH, and that ETH was going back into the dev team. So you can see how something that starts for free, you can actually build a company, a product, a service, anything for something that you gave out for free. How cool is that? Like, how spectacular is that? Like, can you remember any given place on Earth on time that you sent something free to the world, and from that something free to the world, you're actually able to build your own business out of it, just because the system.
Tutorials, maybe the first one kind of thing.
Tutorials.
So basically, there is a software we make.
Well,
tutorials
it's not completely for free. Basically,
but
you're spending your time to watch ads, because the way you get paid is because there's a monetary system to it, and the only way that YouTube generates money, it's because they have advertisers that are paying.
But back then there was no ads on YouTube. But it's a
Back
YouTube plan. So yeah. But yeah.
The escape room artist. That was funny one. But that was just on the first, like, hey, try this out. Come on, let's not hesitate to that. You're saying, Gibbons, that just my mind just got laughing.
I'm thinking that basically
tutorials. Okay, I remember where we were.
Yeah, because I remember, like, well, for example, if you have an ad blocker, all right, so on YouTube there is no ad for me. So I'm getting all of that for free, so I'm the product. But I'm not sure about that. So,
but before there were ads, there was no revenue from YouTube. You could actually not get revenue. There was Patreon, and I think Patreon kind of started to become a thing, like about, I'm not sure if 10 years ago. And that's a way for you to actively support people that were doing, for example, those tutorials, like direct from the creator and the community as well. But before ads on YouTube, creators were not getting paid for those millions of views.
Yeah.
They were known. They were well known, but they were not getting paid for that.
Well, still, well, it's probably different kind of things, but you create kind of audience, and then you can start marketing like some sort of supporters or some kind of how it's sponsors. It's called, I think.
Oh, you can get for I remember that. Yeah, so they would guarantee those millions of views. So you would get sponsorships that would, hey, I want you to have this mug with my brands, and it's a way to show the brand. Okay, got what you're saying.
But what I'm saying is basically that if you really put a lot of work into something, it becomes quite a big thing, which can survive. For example, like there is channels probably on YouTube which created a audience, a community, some sort of, and there is people who I'm not sure if they're able to survive, especially from the tutorials, but I'm pretty sure because about that for gamers. So basically you could like game, all right, you give it the content for free, so everyone is watching that for free. and I don't feel like the audience is the product. I think the
Well,
product is the content.
but hey, you
Um,
have to spend your time looking into that brand that person is pushing in
but you have
front
to
of you.
spend time sleeping, so I don't feel like spending time is a problem.
Well, you say that time is your most valuable resource. So
Well,
if you
yeah,
have to
it is. It is.
watch like a 7-second ad for every video, and you watch, let's say, 10 videos per day, basically you're spending 1 minute and something or just watching ads pushing this
Yeah.
product to you. You could be actively by having like some sort of pre-screen before you get into the tutorial, or someone that just goes like, hey, welcome here, we have the tutorial for this, but before, let's just give a warm welcome for this brand that is paying us to advertise so we can sustain ourselves, and hey, here's this brand for you, and let's go to the tutorial. You just wasted your time watching an ad that you did not wanted to see, and you're getting
Yep.
brainwashed to get that product that in the first place you were not thinking into getting. I worked by the way, I was a general manager for an advertisement company for 7 years, so I'm very well versed on how advertisement works as well, and what are their strategies and how effective they can be. And also I'm seeing that Panda Pops is streaming on the Sandbox, and we're still talking here about creator royalties, which I'm loving, by the way. I think there's still plenty of room for discussion about here, but also we have reached 2 hours, and we still one lucky miner to give away. So sadly, I
Let's
feel
spin.
like we have to interrupt this discussion about royalties. We'll keep on later, but let's spin and let's see who gets to be the last lucky miner of the stream before we can all rate the Sandbox and give an hello to Panapops and Vpire. Good luck, everyone. Let's get the last lucky miner of the stream. And do not be sad, because on Wednesday, we'll be back only for mining.
Bruno, we can look at the wheel, you know?
Oh, we can, yeah. Oh, no, wrong way.
Wrong way.
So
Just what
here we have. That is funny.
just need a different screen on a phone maybe.
On
But
here, yeah. Here we have Econart. Did I get it right? Yeah, Econart. Congratulations, you are the winner for today last lucky miner. We
all
have
right,
to ask.
so let's check the wallet. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that all good.
So Econart, are you around here watching the stream so that you can claim your prize and get into some mining action? If you do so, type in the chat. Here we go. We've got Econart in the house. How are you doing, friend? So, what are we mining today? What do you want to mine today? GG. Stone as usual. So stone it's on vogue today. So we've got a gold pickaxe, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Right, we're going to mine stone, and we've got Econart to be the last lucky miner of this stream. So please, everyone that's watching here, send another round of good lucks here for Econart, as we want all together to see some cool loot, some cool prizes dropping by so that he can get in his wallet later after the stream, and also rank up into the mining play to earn leaderboards. So good luck, Econart. Let's do this. Let's break the first one. Hey, silver nuggets. Ooh. Nice. I was feeling that one. Even Sonar is like, hey, yeah, congratulations. Sheesh.
I'm just listening if he's barking too much. Because, another silver nugget.
That's why he was barking so loud. He was like, really, woohoo. Okay, that is multiplied by 2. Let's keep going.
Probably someone is coming through doors. So
right now, Econart is already the best lucky miner of this stream with 2 silver nuggets. Let's see if we can get this even better. I'm positive. I have my hopes high. So Well, with these very last minutes, let's just say that regarding the discussion we were having about creator royalties, is that taking them away from creators is going to create a different type of struggle. We're going to not see free mints that often. That will be very, very scarce in the future if we keep going through this path. We could see struggles from some devs as well, and all. We could see some projects starting to disappear because being that,
Ooh.
yes, here we go, third silver
But
nugget.
but are something changing in the legal kind of things? How the royalties are considered?
So basically, royalties are enforced by the marketplaces.
Mm-hmm.
And if the marketplaces do not enforce the royalties, the smart contract owners do not receive the Ethereum or whatever coin, either USDC or whatever coin was traded, into their wallets, the ones that minted the smart contract. So if marketplaces do not enforce, creators do not receive. And basically what we have now, it's Blur, that's it's a new. So all these started like back in October, November last year, where they were discussing about because there's a lot of teams that put high royalties and they do not develop, and we're paying for royalties for teams that do not develop. Hey, the problem it's on the teams, not on the royalties. You have to choose if you're buying a product and you want to flip it over, you have to choose well who you're buying from, because you have to buy from a team or from developers that are constantly progressing and developing. So it kind of feels sad if you're buying an NFT for a team that is not developing. So that's probably where it got the main issue or struggle about. So what happened is that back then it was Lux Rare and XY, X2, Y2, and I think some other marketplaces that enforced 0% royalties. And then they changed back again. There was a lot of discussion back and forth on how to do stuff. And then Blur, a new marketplace, popped up and they were like, hey, you know what? Zero enforcement. If you want to pay for royalties, that's your own choice, but we do not enforce them. And hey, our marketplace royalties are going to be 0.5. So basically traders would get 99.5% of every trade they would make, so maximum profits. And that just, when that happened, they had some sort of mechanism for bidding that would give them tokens as well, so it was highly attractive to do so. That drove away the volume out of OpenSea into Blur. And that's something that we did not see that many times happening. And what happened is that they actually surpassed OpenSea volume. That is something that's very, very rare to happen. And OpenSea, as a response, they said, okay, so what we're going to do is that we're no longer going to enforce royalties. We're going to enforce a minimum of 0.5 royalties, and we're going to do, for a limited amount of time, 0 fees on the marketplace. So basically trading on one or the other, it's the same, being that on Blur right now, 0.5% goes for fees for the marketplace, and trading on OpenSea right now, it only enforces minimum of 0.5% of royalties that go for creators. So that's the big difference between these two marketplaces at the moment. Having that said, basically right now, we're in the beginning of a marketplace war that is happening between those. And who will suffer the most out of this war? Traders are getting the most win of this because they do not have to pay more fees, they don't have to pay more royalties, so they're getting the most profits out of this situation. Creators losing value. Now, royalties are not enforced on one platform. They can pay up to 0. On the other one, they have to pay up to a minimum of 0.5%, which is very, very low. So bottom line is that right now, this is the topic that's being very widely talked on Twitter, which is this war between marketplaces, creator royalties, marketplace fees, on how to structure all of this. That's why I wanted to talk about it during this stream as well, because it feels like
Understood.
it's important for something that's happening right now. So also we can look into what will be the future developments. I'm pretty sure that we're going to hear a lot about this everywhere as well. So maybe in a future stream we can make a revisit on this theme to see how much it has progressed and evolved. But for now, we're going to close the stream. We're going to raid the sandbox. So stay by. We're not going to take long, so we can also go into Panapop, say hello, and support also her as well, along with Vpire, because like ourselves, we're streaming here, we're creators, and we're developing the blockchain together with everyone. So let's get there and give some support to Panapops too. So from my end, I want to wish you all a good Monday. The week has just started. We want to wish you a good week as well. So make sure that you get yourself some time to do what makes you happy, what makes you feel alive, and what makes you feel like you're progressing in life as well. So just take note, find time to do any little bit. It does not matter if you can spend a full day, if you're spending 30 minutes, 1 hour, it does not matter. Every day you're going a bit forward towards your goal and your destiny. So please have this energy in this week for you. From our end, we want to wish you a good week. We want to thank you for being here, for listening to us, for playing this game, as well as we keep developing and bringing more news to you. We'll be seeing each other on Wednesday for the Lucky Miner Show. And stay tuned. Have a wonderful week. And before we close, Gibash, you want to say some last words before we close on?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We appreciate, and let's see each other on Wednesdays. Yeah, on Wednesday. Yeah.
Hell yeah, on Wednesdays as well. See everyone. Yep. Cheers. Let's raid the sandbox.
In ancient times, the secret mountain was sealed by the dwarf titans with 5 powerful.
Let's skip that boring part and let's dig into business. I need your help.
Hey, where am I? This is a bit different from what I visited earlier.
Hey, come here quick.
Oh, me?
Yes, you.
How dare you to interrupt my story? I am the mountain.
Well, as I was saying, this is the Misty Mountain and has 2 things about it. One, it's filled with gold and diamonds.
And there is some kind of weird magic. What was the last part?
Instead, you can mine any dwarf streams, and all you need is a pickaxe.
Any dwarf streams?